welcome back. How do I add new users to my Drupal site? Okay, well, let's just go through the process of adding a new user to our Drupal site. To do this, we're going to click on the People tab up here, and I'm going to go ahead and click this button that says Add User. So I add user. Now I have a new form to fill out here. This is a web page that administrators can see. This is where we can register new users. And each user and username on a Drupal website has to be unique. Okay, so you can't have multiple users using the same email address. You need to have a different email address for everyone. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create just a test RoboBunny user, okay? And as they say here, spaces are allowed, except you can't use punctuation other than some really basic things like periods and hyphens and stuff like that. We need to put an email address. I can't just put my regular email address in here because I can't reuse the same email address. So what I'll do is I'll just use my RoboBunny attack at Gmail address. That should work. And I'm just going to go ahead and put a super strong password in there. There's a few other choices we need to choose here. Status blocked or active. We want this person to be active. Obviously, we don't want to keep it blocked. And here is where we choose the role. And notice that we have 3 role choices here. We could either, by default, because if we remember from our screencast about user roles, anybody who has an account on your Drupal site is automatically given the role authenticated user. So that's just a little reminder there that they, by default, and you are a authenticated user, and you could just leave it at that if you wanted to. In our last screencast, we created that editor role. So let's pretend that we've just hired this person as an editor, and we'd now like to grant them editor access to our website. So I'm going to go ahead and click editor. I'm not going to give them administrator privileges, okay? And because you really want to think carefully about who you're going to give administrator privileges to on your Drupal site. Ideally, that's just you and maybe somebody else who's like, who's maybe working on this site with you on an administrator level. We're not going to give our test user here administrator privileges. And this is a really handy one, notify user of new account. You could just notify them separately, but why not have Drupal automatically send an email for you? So what I'll do is I fill this out. There's test RoboBunny user. There's the email address. There's a password, a super strong password that I've made here. They are active. We're going to assign them the role of editor, and we are asking Drupal to please notify the user of new account. So let's go ahead and click Create New Account, and let's see what happens. Okay, so we get a little message here from Drupal. Drupal says that a welcome message with further instructions has been emailed to the new user, test RoboBunny user. Okay, now before we go and check my Gmail to see if this message has come in, let's ask ourselves, this welcome message, who writes this welcome message? Where did this come from? Okay, how does this automatically get sent out? I'd like to point something out to you. You may have noticed it last time we were over here, although I did move through it fairly quickly. On the configuration tab here, under account settings, and if you recall from a few screencasts ago, we were last here when we were selecting who could register accounts. Down here at the bottom, I didn't really spend any time here, but down here we actually have a set of emails. And these are a whole bunch of kind of pre-written email templates, and these are just here for you by default. Drupal writes these, but you could go and edit these if you want to. Now here we'll see the very first one. It says welcome new user created by administrator, and that's exactly what we just did. We just created a new user, and this is the welcome email that will get sent out to that person. And so we'll see here that a site administrator created an account for you at, and what's this? What's this like bracket site name? What these are the variables. These are different variables where Drupal will just pop in here automatically the correct information. So site name, that would be your site name, and whatever you change your site name to, that will automatically get edited there. So if you decide to change your site name to Super Awesome RoboBunny Attack website, then you don't have to go and edit all your emails. Drupal will automatically change that for you. Likewise, here we go, username. This is going to put the username in here, this generates all sorts of automatic information. There we go, user, site login. All this stuff gets automatically generated for you, and so that's really handy. If you wanted to edit this you can certainly edit. If you want to change this and have, instead of it being site name team, you could have it be your name. You could say Kathleen at the RoboBunny Attack website, or whatever you want to say. You can change the wording so that it's more, it's more casual or maybe more formal or whatever you need. You can edit the emails for all of the different automatic emails that get sent out. And that's really handy. Let's actually switch over to Safari where I see here I've got an email waiting in my inbox. Let's see what there is here. Whoa, okay, look at this, a new one saying an administrator created an account for you at the home of RoboBunny Attack. This is the email that the person at the other end who you are adding to the site would receive. Okay, and the wording should look familiar, right? This is just the wording from right here. Administrator created account for you at the home of RoboBunny Attack. And then it says test RoboBunny user. That's the name that I gave them. And it says the site administrator at the home of RoboBunny Attack has created an account for you. You may now log in by clicking this link or copying and pasting it to your browser. Okay. Now, before we go and click on this, because this looks like a crazy long link, this says this link can only be used once to log in and will lead you to a page where you can set your password. Okay, so this is funny because even though when I went to the add new user page, it asked me to put in a password. The funny thing is that you don't actually need to send that password because right away there'll be this link, and then the user will be able to log in and create their own password, which is all for the best. So so there we go. And then it says the link can only be used once. After setting your password, you'll be able to log in at, and we already know about that, about just adding the user, user to the end of the address. In the future using, there's your username, and the password is the password that we chose. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to go ahead and click on this, and this says reset password. This is a one-time login for test RoboBunny user and will expire on. Okay, so click this button to log in to the site, change your password. Login can only be used once. Okay, so I'll go ahead and log in. Just waiting for it to log in now. Okay. Now it says you've just used your one-time login link. It's no longer necessary to use this link to log in. Please change your password. Okay, so this just allows me to edit my user account information. And so I'm just create a new password here. And I actually have a few options here. We can edit all of this, but we can actually upload a photo if we want to, a little avatar. I'm not going to bother doing that right now. We can also change our time zone. If we'd like to. I'll leave this as this. All of this stuff, by the way, you can edit. You can actually determine, you can decide whether or not you want your new users to be able to have a picture and change, be able to control their own time zone and that sort of thing. We'll look at that another day. I'm just going to go ahead and click save here to save my new password, and it says that yes, the changes have been saved. And so now I'm logged in as an editor on this account. And so you'll notice a few things. This looks a little bit different than this does, okay? And that has, has to do with the fact that my permissions are set up in a way right now that, I don't get, editors don't get to see that black bar at the top yet. You can change that if you want to. But notice, what can we do here? Okay, over here we can add content. If I'm an administrator, I can click on the Add Content button and I can add articles or basic pages. If I go over here and I click Add Content, notice this is interesting too. I don't actually get an overlay. I only get the create article thing. So this has been simplified. You can change this. You can actually allow overlays. You can do all sorts of things. You really can control all of this. By default, though, they've set it up so that it's really simple. Super, super simple for the people who are just their job is just to add content. Let's actually search for that article, that Jane article here, and we'll see Welcome Jane Smith. And here, as soon as we see here, let's see if we can actually edit this particular article. And yeah, sure enough, I actually have an edit button over here. So as an editor, I might want to take advantage of this. See, the interface looks a little bit different, but that's okay. I might decide that, oh, you know what? You spelled Goobergren wrong. It's actually Goobergran. There we go. So I've made an edit there. I'm going to go ahead and click Save. And I've done my job as the editor. I've gone in and updated that particular piece of content, and that's my job, is to edit content and add content too. And I can, click on my account over here, and I see I've been a member for 7 minutes 8 seconds. I can go and I can edit my user account information. I can change my password. I can do stuff like that. But there's not a heck of a lot else I can do. And that makes sense because as the administrator, I haven't given the the uh, the editor role a whole heck of a lot of permissions. Okay, and here we can actually see a few things here. This is also very interesting. Obviously, we have two users now on our site, and we'll see they're both active. We see whose roles. Okay, we see that Test RoboBunny user has the editor role, and I have the administrator role. We see that how long they've been a member for. We also see when their last access was, which was interesting. Let's go ahead and reload this just to see. And I know, I hope you don't think that's too creepy, but you are the administrator. You do get to see all this stuff. It's, certainly your right to see when people are logging in. We see that I last accessed this 35 seconds ago, but Test RoboBunny users last accessed it 3 minutes ago. I could go in and edit details about Test RoboBunny user if I wanted to. I could go and change their picture and stuff like that. Obviously, I'm not going to do that. Last but not least, do you remember a long time ago, several screencasts ago, we talked about recent log messages? Let's go take a look at recent log messages to see what's going on here. Because that was a tool that we had used for troubleshooting. And here we see, look at this. We see a bunch of things. You remember in a few screencasts ago, when we were logged in or when we were in Safari, we tried to access user/register and we got an access denied message. This was logged, and so as the administrator, I can see that. I also see all the stuff that RoboBunny attack has done, and now that Test RoboBunny users, I see everything that Test RoboBunny user is doing. You get to see everything. You get to see everything that all your users as well as anonymous users are doing on your site, down from, session was opened, I use a one-time link, we searched content for Jane, and then we went and we updated this content so you can keep track of what everybody is doing. So there we go. Now you know how to add a new user to a Drupal site. All you need to do is go to People, and then you click on the Add User button, and you enter the desired username, email address, password, and choose what role they're going to have. And always a really good idea to notify them of their new account unless you plan on notifying them manually. Okay, and that's it for now. I hope that was helpful. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.